Okay guys, so Marvel Studios, quite clearly it's big. It's the biggest studio in Hollywood, and there's definitely no slowing them down anytime soon. And as we look to the future, we recently had an article that highlighted that Marvel has another 20 movies in development for its films division. And in case you're not counting, that's about another decade's worth of film. So probably another 2 to 3 phases. Or whatever those end up being, considering they're saying that phases are kind of on the way out. But here is a list of what I think we will definitely be getting with speculation and of course guaranteed films. So with that in mind, let's start the list off with what I know we will be getting. Now I know this because obviously we see the trend of how many sequels they're making and what's already in production. So off the bat, we know that we're going to be getting Spider-Man 2. We know this is guaranteed. We know they're starting shooting pretty soon actually in 2018, probably around the summertime, and the movie is coming in July of 2019, which means it's the first film after Avengers 4. And previous reports have already suggested that wherever Spider-Man 4 starts, it's literally moments after Avengers 4 ends. So thus, this is going to be the first film in their series. Some other things to think about is of course the tower, or should I say Avengers Tower, that is now free, possibly open up to Oscorp or someone else to move in, which could possibly play into the plot. After that, we for a fact know that James Gunn is developing Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Now from what we're told, this is definitely not going to include Adam Warlock, at least not at this stage. So it definitely looks like it's going to be the team, whatever the team composition is, after the events of Avengers 4. Now of course Avengers 4 they are saying is significant as it's going to be a turning point in the MCU, and Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is being developed as a film that is going to spin off into the cosmic side of the MCU. So I'm assuming a few new characters will be introduced in this, probably the likes of Quasar or someone that could carry their own franchise going forward. After that, it's more or less a guarantee we will be getting a follow-up to Doctor Strange. Why? Well, of course, it's a big box office hit, the character is huge, he's going to be in the 2 upcoming Avengers movies, so his stock is going to rise. It's going to be definitely a different film because from all that we know, it sounds like they're definitely going with the Nightmare route, which is going to tonally and visually set it apart from everything else that's been done in the MCU. And when you think about it, Doctor Strange was such a big box office hit and the first in a trilogy, considering Marvel wants to do trilogies. Now of course we have Ant-Man and the Wasp in development, but no one is going to disagree that we are definitely getting Ant-Man and the Wasp 3, or Ant-Man 3, whatever they decide to call it, and that will definitely be happening considering once again the rule of trilogies, and Ant-Man is a household name. Now when you really think about it, Ant-Man 1 was a more profitable film than Batman v Superman or Justice League. So this character clearly can hold his own, and he definitely has a future. We all know that Ant-Man the Wasp 2 is going to include Ghost and a few other characters, and of course Ant-Man 3 is probably about 4 years away. Gives them time to very much go into the character and try to differentiate it from the first 2 movies, much like they did the third Thor. After that, it's more or less a guarantee we are going to be getting a follow-up to the Black Panther. You just look at all the buzz surrounding the Black Panther, the amount of talent, the director, everybody involved. It's a movie that's been a long time coming, and I definitely don't think, unless something goes so horribly wrong that it turns out to be the worst movie of all time, there is no way that we don't get a follow-up to the Black Panther. And while we're talking about that, early 2019, we know that Captain Marvel is getting her first standalone film. First standalone because just like Black Panther, and just like a few other films, this will also be a trilogy, so you can expect this movie to of course be big, and then Captain Marvel 2 and 3 undoubtedly to be bigger films. Of course there will be a Spider-Man 3, a Doctor Strange 3, a Black Panther 3, so if you do the math and just run down what I've said, we're getting Spider-Man 2, Guardians 3, Doctor Strange 2, Ant-Man 3, Captain Marvel 2, Black Panther 2, Spider-Man 3, Doctor Strange 3, Captain Marvel 3, Black Panther 3, and New Avengers is what I'm guessing is going to be the big phase-ending film, or phase uniting. So if you kept count during that, that's 11 films. 10 that are guaranteed sequels, which will all finish off trilogies, which gives us a potential 10 new movies to focus on. So my bet is we get 3 New Avengers films. They'll be called the New Avengers to kind of signify the difference. It's an easy name, it's easy marketing, and you're definitely just built that up. So if you combine those, you're looking at a total of 13 films, which leaves us with about 7 new films to start a series. First up is going to be Black Widow, a character that has quite clearly exploded in popularity. People have been wanting a Black Widow movie for so long, and I think this is the time to do it. They can set it in the past if they have to, they can set it whenever it comes out, it doesn't really matter, but they can do it here. Better yet, they could actually make this some sort of team-up movie that could also spin off from the likes of, I would say, Captain Marvel 2 potentially, which would lead into my next suggestion. Because a new all-female driven team-up Avengers movie called A-Force is literally a reason to print money. So in this movie, you unite the likes of a brand new introduction of someone like the She-Hulk, you bring in Black Widow, you have Captain Marvel, you're going to have a few other female characters that you've built up throughout other films, you unite them all. By then you could possibly have the X-Men, but in this scenario we're running that this is just MCU films, not including the Fox stuff. That's a completely different list. So you're really looking at so much box office right there that it's just literally insane, and you can't not do it. So after A-Force and the Guardians are done, you've already set up a spin-off, which includes Nova. Nova, of course, fan favorite character for a lot of people. Nova has his fans. You could go either young with this and do Sam Alexander, you could do Richard Rider, and you could probably even do both. This is something else that, like Black Widow, could start its own trilogy or could be a standalone, but I think Nova could definitely hold his own as a standalone film series. Once again, it's cosmic, it's like Space Police, nothing like this has been done yet, so it looks visually different, and he has a very cool look to him, so it's easy to market and print toys. By this time, Aquaman will already have been out, so it was either a hit or a miss. It's Marvel's turn to try, and they're going to try their hardest to try to top that. Namor the Submariner, Marvel Comics' first ever superhero, and of course, you have to do justice for this character. I'm willing to bet that the reason we haven't seen this character yet is because they're going to spin him off from Black Panther 2 or 3, as Atlantis is going to be the villains. Once people get used to the world and how crazy it is, you can only go up crazier and, more insane from there. So Namor would be a logical step. Starts off as an anti-hero. Once you catch up in his movie, you see why he's like this, and you have an in from the Black Panther crowd. The people would go insane. Like I said, Marvel's first ever superhero. This is big marketing right here. Next up, you need someone to try to rival Superman who's a male. I would say you could do Hyperion, or you could do Sentry. But most likely, I could see them actually uniting both characters, kind of an amalgam of both, and doing Sentry, because I think personally he has just more of an appealing name, and doing a Sentry movie where it's Marvel's kind of pitches it more or less it's like their Superman. He's powerful, he's really crazy powerful as a matter of fact, a cool visual character, something different to him. He can kind of embody that new larger-than-life Thor aspect that's going to be missing, which honestly I think they could go with, and this would be a smart step. Next up, as a celebration and a sort of giant hurrah, look what we can do, Miracle Man / Marvel Man. This is one of the most confusing character rights things that you could ever look into. It is so bizarre, but this character would literally be something that I think could come out and be huge, especially with how much stuff is behind it, and he honestly does have a pretty cool look. Marvel recently did put out a new Miracle Man comic, and I think this could be something that they're looking at, because once again, this reminds me of sort of a victory lap of being like, look, it's our character, look what we've done with him, all this showmanship and all that, and I think this character on his own could stand and hold his own film series. But hey, Guardians of the Galaxy wrapped up, what if we span off Adam Warlock from one of those films, maybe the third one or maybe the new Avengers? Well, Adam Warlock and the Infinity Watch. Now of course this would be an amalgamation of some Guardians of the Galaxy characters carrying on over. The likes of Drax, Gamora could be used, you could bring on Moondragon, Pip the Troll could be used, of course being led by Adam Warlock, who's kind of introducing this new generation, and as a matter of fact, you could probably, amalgamate a little bit more from different elements of different Guardians comics in the cosmic universe, and by then if they have the Surfer, they could toss him in there. If not, you could always use other characters from the MCU, like Nova, for example, as his own. You could do that natural crossover and make him kind of an unofficial member of Infinity Watch, which I honestly think would be awesome. So if you've kept count during this, that is 20 films, and the last 7 are all made for spin-offs, while the other ones are all kind of naturally new Avengers series, which they can't end those because those are money makers, and of course finishing off the series that have already started, which are guaranteed trilogies. Hopefully you guys enjoyed my list. If some of you guys think there will be other ones, let me know what you think in the comments down below, but this is honestly what I feel will most likely be what they go for.